and welcome to our final orchestra concert of the year. How excited are you guys? I have to tell you, this has been an absolutely astoundingly wonderful year with your children and making music all year long. Our spring concert is a big celebration of everything we've accomplished this year, but it's also very sad for me in particular, not so much Mr. Yoke, because he teaches at the high school. He gets to see these 8th graders next year, but these 8th graders are leaving me. And something special about this class of 8th graders, and I'm going to try not to lose it and start sobbing all over the stage. I started here back home. I moved back home to Mentor to come teach orchestra 4 years ago. And 4 years ago, these guys were 5th graders starting orchestra. And a lot of them had me for their very first day. I called them my babies. So it's a little sad to say goodbye to them. So we're going to be doing some 8th grade awards. We're going to be talking about our section leaders. We're going to be listening to some great music. And I'm going to try really hard not to sob. So if you see me losing it, I'm holding it together as best as I can. So here is our spring 7th and 8th grade concert, starting with our Ridge Orchestra. They decided that they wanted to play one of our contest pieces for you that they haven't gotten to play for a concert before because it's just so stinking beautiful. And then we're going to play some movie song and then some pop music. Let's talk about what happened this Friday and Saturday. All 3 of our orchestras went to large group contests, and it was hosted here. And it was a thing where we played for 3 judges, and they give us a rating. All 3 of our Mentor orchestras got the highest rating that you can get. Can we have a huge round of applause for ourselves? Every single Mentor, whether it was band or orchestra, all of our groups got 1s this year, so we're just so proud of them. So here we go with our Ridge Orchestra, and we're going to start off with Heartstrings. Okay, 8th grade award time. To start with, I would like to recognize the section leaders from my group. So if you were a section leader this year, and we had a lot of them in our rich group, can you please come to the front of the stage? So we have our cello section leaders, Palin and Gracie. We've got many first violin section leaders, Ainsley, Deanna, Elena, and Caitlin, and our second violins, who really took charge of our new 7th grade violins, Nina, Matea, and Morgan, and we have our viola section leader, Adam. Can we have a big round of applause for these guys? For taking a little bit of the stress of my job and passing it on to them. They all get a giant chocolate bar because that's how I cope. We have 3 awards that we give out to our 8th graders. And the first one is the Performance Award. And this goes to a student who has dedicated so many hours to practicing, and they show so much talent, but they back that up with hard work. And they spread that hard work around the orchestra and really motivate and inspire kids to practice just as much as them. And kids come up to this kind of student and they ask them questions about, what should I do with my bow here? Is this note in tune? So when I'm looking for my performance award winner, that's the kind of student that I'm looking for. Not just a student who performs really well, but also boosts our orchestra by inspiring other students to rise to their level. And this year's Ridge Performer Award goes to Ainsley Lyles. Then we move on to our Leadership Award, and these are students that not only can hold their own on their instrument, but they are always looking for what they can do for the whole orchestra. And I could not choose, honestly, with these 8th graders, it's so hard to narrow it down to just 3 awards. If I could give every single kid an award, I would. But this year it was impossible to choose just one leader. So I looked all the way back to 6th grade year. And my two leaders are absolutely inseparable. I remember them as 6th graders. They would start the entire class on a let's play as many songs as we can before Miss Driscoll's ready to go kind of challenge. In sectionals last year, 7th graders, I had an 8th grade section leader, but they were really leading the cello section. So my leadership award goes to Kaylin and Gracie. Okay, and then my absolute, it's a weird award. It's a weird title for an award. It's called the Best Stand Partner Award, but it's one of my favorite because it's a student who stands out, doing everything that they can to make sure that the inner workings of the orchestra are happening. And this student, unfortunately, couldn't be here today. He was sick. But Zach is the absolute definition of Best Stand Partner Award. These kids know he's the one at the end of class racking all of their stands that they put on the stand rack incorrectly. So he straightens them all out and makes sure that I don't have to do them. But he's also the kid that will come up to me after a sectional and say, hey, Miss Driscoll, so-and-so was having a really bad day today. Maybe you could go talk to her and see if she's doing okay. So I gave the Best Stand Partner Award to Zach Zavato.
But wait, there's more.
Of course there's more.
So, since Miss Driscoll has been a huge help to all of us and has given us so many nice things and done so much nice stuff for us, we decided to put a movie together again.
Oh my.
We're not. I promise. But since we couldn't play dragon dances, we got her a dancing dragon. Is that what's in here?
And now a few words. 4 years ago, we walked into our music class not knowing anything. Now we're amazing musicians. We've all come so far. We walked in as strangers, now we're walking out as a family. Miss Driscoll has made such an impact in all of our lives. She's giving us an amazing advice throughout the years. I don't think any of us would be in this position without Miss Driscoll. Miss Driscoll is such an important figure in all of our lives. It's heartbreaking that this is our last year playing in middle school orchestra, especially leaving such an amazing person. We cannot thank you enough for the best 4 years of our lives. We all love you, and so does Dragon Dances.
Well, I guess I'm not going to keep it together. Our next orchestra is Shore. Come on down.
Yeah, that's our first tune. It's called Tuning. We're really good at that one. Just learned that today. It's really impressive. I'm Mr. Yoke. I teach at the high school and also shore and one day a week at Sterling Morton. This evening, like Mr. Driscoll alluded to, we have a lot to celebrate with all the groups receiving superior ratings last weekend. And as we close out this school year, I want to remind everyone that orchestra never ends. During the summer, in fact, the first day of summer, Tuesday, May 30th, through June 30th, Friday, June 30th, there is summer camp. There are 2 courses. There are some flyers on the MOA table as you exit this evening. I think I figured it out for the elementary school concert last week that it's essentially about $2.50 a day for an hour and 15-minute extra class. Things I cover in summer camp are things that we don't have a ton of time. We always touch on these throughout the school year, but some advanced slur techniques, some advanced vibrato techniques, some things that are more high school attributes. Okay, so I had a couple of parents ask me, you know, there's the one class that is for students that have just finished 5th grade, but then there's one other class where students who have just finished 6th, 7th, and also 8th grade are invited. So, you know, what does that class sort of look like? Is it beneficial for my 6th grader to join this secondary orchestra during the summer? And the answer is obviously absolutely it is. In fact, those students that are leaving 6th grade and going into 7th, and those that are leaving 7th going into 8th, this is a great opportunity for you to get a shot on playing first violin or some of the more difficult things that we play with those students that have just left 8th grade and heading to the high school for 9th grade. It allows us to play some more difficult stuff and without being bogged down with the testing and all the other classes that they attend, we can kind of just focus on orchestra. Also, each Friday we have like a fun activity. The first one's dodgeball, but it gets, I'll save the surprise for those of you that come to camp, but we also do the very exciting Cheetos Challenge, which is always a drastic mess, and it's always one of my most favorited and retweeted tweets of the year. So I'll save my awards until after Shore's done performing. We're going to get started tonight with The Day of Joy, Dia di Alegria. That was Lavinia Torres on the last piece on a violin solo, which we auditioned earlier this week. Nice job, Lavinia. Really nice job. Also, I forgot something from earlier. You know, speaking of the contest, one of the things I'm really impressed by, especially this time of the year when things are crazy. One of the things that's so impressive to me is that this show that we just played Friday and Saturday, none of those pieces are up here today. We've basically, each school has been working on 6 to 7 pieces and then selecting 3 that we're going to perform here, and then 3 that we're really fine-tuning for that contest that happened this past weekend. So if you've been hearing the same songs for a couple of months, I apologize, but we've talked a lot about what it takes to get a superior rating in these ensembles, and one of the biggest things that strings in particular get kind of hammered on is intonation. You know, can we actually play these songs in tune? We don't have frets, we don't have buttons or valves or anything that we can depress to get our notes and then manipulate slightly. Our students from an earlier age have to know what these pitches sound like before they're performed. It's a very, very tricky thing, and we worked on this a ton this year in all 3 ensembles, and I think not just the scores are proof of that, but what you're hearing on stage this evening and what you've heard throughout the year is pretty indicative of the hard work of the students this year. So for me, that's the most impressive thing, that tonight we have a completely different show than we had last week. Okay, Shore is going to end this evening with a really fun tune that I usually save for high school students. It's a grade 4, 3.5, somewhere in there. It's got some really, really tricky rhythms, but the Shore's section here tonight, our theme is sort of happiness. You know, Sonatina, although it went minor there in the middle part, is a happy tune. And the beginning, our first tune, is actually titled "The Day of Joy." Doesn't get much happier than that. And we're ending tonight with a piece called "Tudo Bem," which is sort of the Hakuna Matata of South America, Brazil area. So you're going to hear some rhythms that you may want to like move, dance a bit. I tried to explain to the students that this song, when you listen to it, reminds me of like no worries, sitting on the beach, enjoying yourself, watching a gorgeous sunset. So usually an orchestra performance, especially if you attend one of the high school ones, it's got a little bit more of a serious tone to it. This next piece kind of doesn't. So there's a surprise here at the end, and you kind of just have to roll with it. I think you'll understand what to do. But we're going to finish up musically before the awards with Shore's performance of Tudo Bem. You can have a ball on this one. Zach.
Thank you, Rosie.
great lesson today too. The dollar store beach balls, man, they do not stay in place that often. We just blew those up. Just blew those up. Hope you had fun there. I have the same titled awards that Ms. Driscoll gave out to Ridge. I have a few students to honor, and just like Ms. Driscoll alluded to earlier, is that these are very hard to give out. Much harder than our first year. I'm sure she would agree with me on that. And I'm sure as the years progress, this is going to be even more difficult to give these awards out. Frankly, I'm falling into the same problem with my high school students. If you were at that show, I did have some ties, and I do have one tonight. But as I discussed with them earlier today in class, really this 8th grade class this year, everybody deserves an award. And they get the Yoke Stamp of Approval Award we talked about a little bit today. They have really done an awesome job. I think back to 6th grade to these 15 students. This was before I taught elementary school, and 15 is kind of a lower number for 6th grade, but these 15 that started with me, we only lost one student along the way, and we have 5 of them in Mannheim and Symphony. Oh, 2. Okay, 2. 1 because they moved, right? Anyway. So a lot of them are moving on to top orchestras, just like many of the students from Memorial and Ridge. This is the most number ever that I've accepted into Symphony in Mannheim. And it's not because I really needed students, it's because the level of audition quality this year was just a little higher, that's all. And I hope that trend continues. So, it's not as sad for me, because everyone gets to join me next year in the high school orchestras, and gets to go on. It's one of the most awesome parts about my job. So first up, the Best Stand Partner Award. This is the one that I just cannot narrow it down. I think about traditionally when somebody is, forgot their music, or their iPad isn't charged, or they need rosin, or I forgot this, I forgot that, and this other person's like, well, I have an extra, there's always an extra. We have a student from our viola section this evening, Nora Elena Schultz, please come on up. And also, one of the most difficult sections to play in is the second violin section, because a lot of the times you have the harmonic version of the melody, and it's very, very difficult to hear those pitches in tune a lot of the times with more difficult writing. And this particular student from our second violin section this year has just done an outstanding job being prepared, great leading, just an all-around great stand partner, Aaron Knapp. Then I do have 2 final awards. One is our leadership award. This goes to a member of our group that is a section leader, and even though I didn't communicate this to her years ago, I kind of figured she would be a section leader along the way. It's just somebody that I can tell goes home, really internalizes the things that we've talked about in class, her private lessons. She asks really thought out, intelligent questions on a consistent basis. Things that help shape our ensemble into what you heard this evening. Tonight's leadership award is presented to Amanda Miles. And finally, our performance award goes to a student that, again, from the first day she walked in 6th grade, I could tell that there were some special things on the way, and I've been absolutely astonished at the amount of progress that she's been able to make in just a couple of short years. This is somebody who has not just attended solo and ensemble and other various events and done really well, but also has taken the times that it didn't go as well and really taken that opportunity to build and grow and learn from, hey, maybe we picked a song that was a little too hard for us, maybe there were things we needed to clean up. I think it was C sharps or F sharps, I forget what it is, Ellie. But tonight's performance award is presented to Elizabeth Stevenson. Our MOA president this evening, Mrs. Ann Michael, is not present with us, and it's where I have to actually head to in a couple of minutes. Tonight's also the Senior Awards banquet at the Croatian Lodge out in Eastlake, and I have the Mentor High School Department Award to give out this evening. So I have to scoot out of here. I apologize, I'll miss the end of the show, but I'm sure I'll be able to catch it on YouTube. But don't forget, tonight is our Dairy Queen fundraiser, the Dairy Queen on Lakeshore. I will be back for that, so I will see you there. How about one more round of applause for Shirl Orchestra?
Memorial is a big group, and there is no way that I could do anything that we do in class without these fabulous section leaders. So starting with Stan leading our bass section, we have Alex leading our cellos, Taylor leading our violas. Mandy and Juliana did the dual task. They split the task of leading our giant second violin section, and then Roman leading our first violins. Can we have a round of applause for our section? This group because there's just too many 8th graders and they are all too wonderful. So there wasn't one that I could just narrow down to just one. So bear with me, please. We're going to start with our performance award, and this again goes all the way back to 5th grade at Garfield, where I had these two little guys, little teeny tiny guys, and they were just playing circles around everybody, and it seemed like all they did when they went home was practice, because I would give them something and they would come back the next week and they would know that and 10 other things. So, and it's been like that since 5th grade. Our performance awards go to Roman and Jeff. It's so difficult to pick leaders out of this group because I have all these section leaders, and it seems like every 8th grader is just willing to step up whenever I need anything. They're always there, but I had to choose two. I chose two. I said to these guys, and I said to all of my orchestras, the second violin section is the section that makes it or breaks it. And that was extremely true for us at contest. And you can't believe the amount of positive comments, all these glowing things about, oh my goodness, these second violins can play out and they are amazing. And that is mostly due to our 2 leadership award winners, Mandy and Juliana. I have 2 Stand Partner Award winners for 2 different reasons. So I'm going to start with my first one. This person is equal parts amazing performer, fantastic leader, and then always just making sure, hey, Mr. Driscoll, how you doing today? Or, hey, asking around, asking how the rest of the violas are, making sure that everybody is okay and has everything that they need. So our first Best Stand Partner Award winner is Taylor. And our final award, this is Best Stand Partner Award, but also this could be just like Best Orchestra, most excited orchestra person in the whole wide world. This person, ever since I have met this person in 5th grade, she would come in absolutely just singing all the time, nonstop. This girl lives and breathes music, and when she comes into the room, she brings her smile, and everybody around her smiles too. And we all need a little bit of that. So my final Stand Partner Award goes to Allie. Okay, so let's have one more round of applause for our Memorial Orchestra. And I promise I'm only going to talk for a little tiny bit, but I'm going to do it while we're transitioning to our chamber orchestra. So let's switch quick, so I have to talk fast. Oh, looks like they're super ready. This is our chamber orchestra, and these guys stress me out. Whenever I let them pick music, they always pick the hardest thing. And they picked a piece of music that I didn't even know that they knew about. They just knew the title of the song, and they're like, we have to play that. And I was like, are you guys sure? And they could play it. So So we're gonna play you Kentucky Jam and then Lion City.